We continue our yoga philosophy discussion. So yoga is roughly a 5,000-year-old tradition. It's rooted in ancient Hindu practices and scriptures and was brought to the West by Indian gurus and swamis in around the early 1900s, it's speculated. Yoga is a system by which we use a series of postures, deep breathing, and exercises in hopes of accessing a deeper realization of who we are as people in this experience that we call life, if you will. The practice itself, the asana that you see today in many of yoga classes, that did not come till later in the practice. Originally, yoga itself was really focused on seated meditative practices. Typically, what would happen, in the only posture that you would then practice at that point would be a lotus or some version thereof, being seated in meditation. Yoga is a system by which we use a series of postures. It enables us to discover the inherent connection to spirit and the divine that resides within each and every one of us. So however you define that isness is up to you. Whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter, regardless of what name you want to give to it. The idea of the practice of yoga itself is to connect you with that, with whatever that is for you. Our hope through the practice is to be able to connect you to that quote-unquote divinity. Through the practice with body and breath, we learn to merge the mind, we learn to manage the mind and the senses together and connect them into in this holistic experience, if you will. Yoga itself as a practice is not a religion. All paths to yoga lead to the same goal, which is knowledge of the higher self, or experiencing the isness that kind of flows through all of us. The unchangingness that flows through all of us. Yoga is moving into that eternal peaceful stillness and finding strength and centeredness from which to approach the world around us. So, in a practical kind of everyday sense, it's even when there's chaos going on around you, you're able to find some sort of centeredness to really see all angles of a situation and then make the most effective decision that you can, as opposed to being pulled in either direction by the chaos that exists, and then maybe you're not making the best choice for yourself and those around you, right? Moving on to stillness, our true nature can be realized even through feeling and emotion. It helps pave the way for a deeper relationship to ourselves. So if you know who you are on the inside, then the outside world and whatever it tries to project on you, it's that much harder for it to penetrate if you are clear in who you are as a person. Yoga can be practiced by anyone. The key to a quote-unquote successful experience in yoga is by adapting the yoga to the individual and their personal needs. So successful is neither here nor there. Success is in the eye of the beholder. But the idea of the experience is making it accessible to all those who are coming into practice. So if someone has some sort of limitation, for lack of a better word, we want to make sure that the practice is accessible to them so they can enjoy the benefits of yoga as well. The yoga postures or asanas are tools to release tension within the body, and the release helps to bring around profound change in the health of the individual. It can bring around profound change. Saying that definitively is really based on many factors. It's based on that person's experience of the practice. It's based on the wellness of the body that's coming into practice in the first place. It's based on the mental wellness and emotional wellness of the person that is coming into practice to begin with. Does it offer a pathway, if you will, or is it a quality modality to move you toward less dis-ease? Yes, I would definitely say that. But the benefit that you receive is essentially based off of what you put into the practice and how you approach it. So yoga can be used somewhat in a therapeutic manner to enhance the immune system, maybe work with blood pressure, balance hormones, hormone activity in the body, and can have some soothing, it's said to can have some soothing effects on the nervous system as well. All of these things are can be backed up by science. However, using this as the sole approach to whatever health condition you may encounter would not be the most effective and responsible way to go about it. You want to make sure that you're not kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater and saying, I'm only going to use my yoga practice to manage XYZ condition. You want to make sure you're being a practitioner and a responsible student and a responsible steward of the practice itself. Over the last 50 years, yoga postures have had much work done to them, as in they've changed. So there was a primary series, if we're speaking of the Ashtanga lineage, that was created in the 1930s. And it had kind of this, if you will, contortionist, acrobatic vibe to it, if you will. But postures have changed and been added to and taken away from and grown since that time. In a way of making it more accessible to the everyday folks, because not everyone's body excuse me, is built to move in those types of ways excuse me, simply based off of the structure of the person's body that is practicing will depend upon what postures you may or may not be attainable in some way, shape, or form. So we can aid people in reaching their practice goals, or whatever their practice goals are, not ones that we craft for them. Whatever their personal practice goals, by giving them props such as blankets or bolsters or straps or blocks, even chairs, additional mats, whatever they need to make the practice theirs. What I like to say to many of my students, it doesn't matter what I'm doing up in the front of the class, as long as you're able to keep your body safe and you're able to experience a yoga practice that is efficient and effective for what your needs are, then you're doing it right. Because it's not for us as teachers to kind of impose our will, if you will, for lack of a better term, on our students. We want them to experience asana in the best manner that they can. So we'll move further in philosophy lesson. We'll take a look at the Yoga Sutras. So the Yoga Sutras basically serve as the foundation of the yoga practice. Excuse me, they're written between 500 and 200 BCE. And it's known that, as of right now, the thought is that the author itself was Patanjali. But in all actuality, as we look at the sutras, the research leads us to believe that it's actually written by more than one person, just because of the time frame that it spans of coming to life, if you will, as yoga being a living practice. Some of the things were written, 1,000 years after other parts of the sutras. So it would stand to reason that if it was written by one person, that one person was not living 1,000 years, because most life ceases about at the 100-year-ish mark. Maybe 115 is the highest that we would get. So it would stand to reason that more than one person wrote the sutras, but I digress. Excuse me. It indicates that yoga itself is about a 5,000-year-old system. At the core of yoga philosophy, the view that we are born divine, so that we are born already connected to this isness, to this unchanging parts of us, to the unchanging parts of us, and each human being at its core, at its soul, that dwells eternally within inside them, is a part of this kind of changeless infiniteness that exists. We speak of, in the yoga philosophy, we speak of this Brahman is the supreme essence from which all creation derives. So it's from this place, I guess you could refer to it as the ether, if you will, if you want another a better word, or excuse me, not a better word, but another word to describe it. And then from there we speak of the Vedanta. that arose on the Indian subcontinent in the early 600 BCE and has been a powerful force in India for spiritual history to the present day. Most of the Vedanta branches hold one fundamental value, and which is common in all individual souls, are with the ground of being the absolute. Like, there is, I go back to this unchangingness that it's referring to. Because we're all kind of a part of this big river of life that we all flow through, and we are all kind of a part of this flowing river, if you will. So another of the yogic texts is the Upanishads, and there are over 200 Upanishads composed of both poetry. Some of them are written in as early as the middle and second millennia BCE, and others are more recently as the last century. So using these ancient texts can help craft your overall view and understanding of yoga, but they all come in time. I know with this being a 200-hour teacher training and you just kind of dipping your toe in the yoga waters, if you will, some of these things may feel like they're just a million miles over your head, and that's okay. It all comes with time. So there's this body of mystic writings can include some of the most inspired and sophisticated scriptures in human history, including the scripture perhaps most widely known to Westerners as the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita translates to the Song of God. The Gita is an amazing text. We will read through it as a part of our 200-hour training. So we'll take a deep dive into that when that time comes. But the text itself is this amazing story that you will definitely get an opportunity to dive into, and we'll go over in depth. In yoga, it is believed that once the soul has been awakened to the presence of source and consciousness, the source can be cultivated through a cornucopia of practices. So what I always think, I think of this line in the lecture as, once you ring the bell, it can't be unrung. Once you know better, once you know that this consciousness, this Atman, this unchangingness exists in things, that you can't kind of go backwards in thinking that, well, maybe there's no there. So we encourage those that come to practice to be open, right, to what's available for them, and we allow our students to kind of ease into, what may exist from the spiritual aspects of class and of the teaching. So that concludes our dive into philosophy. Concludes this second lesson, and we will continue in the next video.